The plot against Donald Trump.
Mr. Reagan.
You may have noticed recently that Donald Trump has said some unusual things about Ron DeSantis. He's lashed out at several prominent conservatives. And a lot of you are saying, this looks really bad. This looks weak. This looks petty. What is he doing? And I asked exactly the same question. When I first saw this stuff, I'm like thinking, what is Trump doing? I didn't understand what was happening. But this is a whole lot bigger than anyone realizes. Donald Trump is being attacked. The deep state is going after Donald Trump like they've never gone after him before. They're going at him with everything they've got. And Donald Trump is fighting back. The key here is a politician by the name of Lindsey Graham. The key issue is abortion. And the question is, did Lindsey Graham intentionally sabotage the midterm elections? Well, I'm going to tell you what I think about that in one moment. First, I have to sell you something. So, is investing in silver today a good idea? Colin Plume from our friends at Noble Gold thinks so. On the national desk, he explained that there had been a huge sell-off of silver because of its low price right now. But silver is the most useful industrial metal out there, and demand is soaring for electronics in electric cars and solar panel circuits as the green agenda speeds up. And as industries pick up after the pandemic supply chain issues, the trend down should reverse quickly and silver will rocket. Don't miss this. Give the team at Noble Gold a call and join thousands of others who have taken advantage of this blip in the market. They'll guide you through the process and make it easy for you. And this month, you will get this stunning 3-ounce silver American Virtue coin with a qualified IRA of $20,000 or higher. They actually sent me one of these, and it is amazing. It's very, very heavy, but a very beautiful coin. You can't go wrong with Noble Gold. It's the safest place to put your money right now. Call the team at 877-646-5347 and find out more, or visit noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. All right, so why would I ask that? Why would I think that Lindsey Graham might have sabotaged the midterm elections? Well, it's because of the liberal hive mind. He tweeted the other day, Lindsey Graham's federal abortion ban stunt should have him thrown out of the party. He is a saboteur. And this is a brilliant point. You had the Supreme Court rule against Roe versus Wade. That threw the abortion laws back to the states, right? Kicked it back to the states. Every state now decides their own abortion laws. That's federalism, guys. That's the way this country is supposed to run. Democrats didn't like it. They threw a fit. They basically said, Republicans are going to try to take away your abortion rights and all this kind of stuff. When the Supreme Court makes a ruling like that on something that's so critical to Democrats, and it fires them up, and they want to go out and vote because of it, what do? Politically minded, what do? You cool them down. You calm the situation. For Lindsey Graham to present a bill, a national abortion ban, you are poking the beehive. You are riling up the Democrat base. You are infuriating feminists. Of course they're going to go out and vote in force against you when you present a bill like that. Lindsey Graham knew this, and he presented this bill anyway. The Democrats control the House. The Democrats control the Senate. The Democrats control the executive branch. It wasn't going to pass in the House. It wasn't going to pass in the Senate. And even if it had, it would have been vetoed by Joe Biden. There is no reason to present a bill at this time. It was pointless. Lindsey Graham is not a novice politician. It's not like he doesn't know what he's doing. It's not like he doesn't know what presenting such a bill is going to do. Lindsey Graham sabotaged the midterm elections. Now, what is a rhino exactly? Is Lindsey Graham a rhino? Well, here's the thing. I think there's two definitions of a rhino. I don't think Lindsey Graham is the traditional definition of a rhino. Now, here's what I mean. A traditional rhino is somebody who has left-wing values, Democrat values, but they run a campaign as if they're a conservative. They pretend to be a conservative. They pretend to be a Republican so that they can get in office and they can stay in office, although they consistently vote with the Democrats. They might just live in a place in which they're not likely going to get elected as a Democrat. But Lindsey Graham is not this kind of a rhino. I think that he does have conservative values. There's a different kind of rhino, which is a selfish politician, a corrupt politician, a true Republican who acts in his or her own interest instead of the interest of the American people. So I believe that Lindsey Graham has either been tempted to act in his own interest in order to get rich, or he has been tempted to act in his own interest in order to avoid whatever penalty would be imposed on him by the deep state. I believe Lindsey Graham has either been bribed or threatened by the deep state, and so Lindsey Graham is part of the deep state. I mean, he's been in politics for so long. How could he not be? Now, I've mentioned the deep state many times on the show, but let me just go over it quickly. It's just career politicians, career government agents who work with outside entities, banks, Wall Street, special interest groups, billionaires, etc., in order to manipulate government policies for their own best interest at the expense of the American people. That's it. That's all the deep state is. It's not some mysterious evil organization. It's just people who are selfish and greedy and manipulate the system for their own benefit. It's selfishness over a duty to the American people. That's it. That's all the deep state is. And here's the next twist in this saga, the plot against Donald Trump. Mitch McConnell is also involved. You see, during this midterm election cycle, Mitch McConnell made the decisions about where money went to support candidates in various areas of the country. And Mitch McConnell made a very strong decision not to fund Donald Trump-endorsed candidates. The other day, Lou Dobbs tweeted this: "Leader McConnell has got to go. Here is a breakdown of the money spent in some battleground Senate seats. Arizona, Masters, $9 million versus Kelly, $73 million. Georgia, Walker, $32 million versus Warnock, $76 million. Nevada, Laxalt, $12 million versus Cortez, $47 million. And in New Hampshire, Bolduc, $2 million versus Hassan, $36 million. $2 million versus $36 million. I mean, come on, Mitch McConnell, what are you doing here? It almost sounds intentional."
Mitch McConnell. McConnell decided to spend millions of dollars attacking a fellow Republican in Alaska instead of helping me defeat Senator Mark Kelly. Had he chosen to spend money in Arizona, this race would be over. We'd be celebrating a Senate majority right now. And so let's not vote Mitch McConnell into leadership. He doesn't deserve to be majority leader or minority leader. So you can stand with your constituents and stand with Americans, or you can stand for Mitch McConnell.
Let me just ask you really quick, why wouldn't he support you, I wonder?
I will leave it to the viewer to decide whether it is just malice or whether it's gross incompetence. But clearly Mitch McConnell cares about Mitch McConnell and less about a Senate majority or the people of America.
So what the hell is going on? Here's what I think it is. Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell are working with Democrats and the deep state in order to keep control of the government. They want to keep the money flowing, and they want to keep Donald Trump out. So the plan, I believe, was coordinated. Let Trump endorse his slate of candidates. Lindsey Graham then sabotages the midterms with his abortion bill. McConnell then neglects to fund Trump-endorsed candidates. They then blame Trump for the midterm losses, and then they get DeSantis in. It's a coordinated effort by both Democrats and deep state Republicans to try to keep Trump out in 2024. I mean, they are desperate to keep Trump out of office. First, it was Russian collusion. Then it was the Ukraine phone call to Zelensky. Then it was the January 6th protests. Then it was the documents at Mar-a-Lago. Nothing has worked. And so now it's this strategy. Trump picked bad candidates and failed to secure victory in the midterms. Trump's time is up. It's time to move on to DeSantis. So, you know what? Of course, Trump is lashing out. And is it right? And is it good? And is it perfect? I don't know. I mean, I don't think so. Like I said at the beginning of the show, it looks petty. It looks weak. A lot of people are turning their backs on Trump right now. And I don't just mean prominent media personalities. I mean regular American voters. And I think that this is terrible. But even when it comes down to the specifics of what Trump has been saying about DeSantis, there is a lot more to it than you might think. You see, Trump has been betrayed. From what I understand, it looks like DeSantis is going to be running in the 2024 primary against Donald Trump. And you know what? It does seem kind of ungrateful when you consider that Donald Trump really did help DeSantis become the governor of Florida. DeSantis was Trump's guy. It does seem like a bit of a betrayal. But this may not actually be DeSantis's decision. I was texting Sebastian Gorka asking him what the heck was going on with Donald Trump and these messages about DeSantis, and Sebastian Gorka sends me this video in a text message, and he says, watch this. And so I'm sending it now to you guys so you can see what I was told specifically to watch so that I would understand this. And I do have to say, it is enlightening.
Well, the bigger problem I have is that it's really driven by Ken Griffin and Paul Singer and Steve Schwartzman and other people. It's driven by
the money guys. The money guys.
These are guys. I don't think Ron DeSantis in thinking clearly would ever want to go up and primary President Trump, right? I think he's getting tons of pressure from the big donors, not the guys writing $1 million checks or $5 million checks, the guys that write $100 million checks. I think you're seeing, particularly Ken Griffin's up front. He moved to Miami to be close to, in Florida to be close to DeSantis. He wants DeSantis as president. He doesn't want Trump. He's prepared to put any amount of money to stop President Trump. Paul Singer's led the Never Trump movement in 15 and 16. He's a deep pocket. I think that Schwartzman and many, many others that are there. So you've got the money, and they're putting pressure. They don't want President Trump because they don't want a populist nationalist president back in the White House.
Well, they want somebody who they can control.
So DeSantis may already be controlled. Not totally. He's not totally controlled, but there may be a little coercion going on there. And a little coercion can turn into a lot of coercion. I think the amount of influence that the deep state tries to assert on you is directly proportional to the amount of power that you have. Now, this doesn't mean that DeSantis is a bad guy. He is a good conservative. He's just a politician. This, apparently, is how Donald Trump thinks about Ron DeSantis. Normally, I wouldn't read a private text, but I don't think that Sebastian Gorka is going to care in this particular case. I wrote to him, I said, so does Donald Trump think that Ron DeSantis is a rhino? Does he think he's deep state or not MAGA? Sebastian Gorka wrote me 3 words in response: just a politician. And so what does that mean exactly? Well, it doesn't quite mean Ron DeSantis is a total phony or anything like that. I don't think that that's what it means. We all put on a little bit of a show when we go out and we talk to people, right? We're not the same person in public as we are when we're alone watching television. And the same thing is true when you're a politician. You put on something of a facade, something of a persona. Trump doesn't really do that. He's not a politician. Trump is Trump. And I think Trump thinks that DeSantis isn't entirely authentic. He isn't entirely genuine when he's on stage, when he's giving a speech, when he's talking to reporters. I think Trump believes that DeSantis is kind of trying to be Trump, a polished imitation of himself. And I think he resents that. I think Trump also has a kind of personal distaste because I don't think he feels like he's ever gotten credit for helping DeSantis initially. And then when you add on top of that the idea that DeSantis has kind of adopted Donald Trump's style, I think that, yeah, Donald Trump feels a little bit betrayed. Trump is an original. He's authentic. And DeSantis, as I said, is a politician. But at the end of the day, we have to discuss one thing that is the most critical question that we have to ask going forward, and we have to answer it quickly. Do we continue to support Donald Trump? And I say emphatically, yes. And I don't support Donald Trump because I always have and I want to be right or anything like that. I know there's a tendency for people to do that. No, I support Donald Trump because Donald Trump is a known asset. DeSantis is not. We know he's a great governor. We know he has great policies. We know that he can handle the left to some degree, but we don't know how he's going to be in the hornet's nest that is Washington, D.C. We know that Trump cannot be bribed or extorted. DeSantis, maybe. The deep state is afraid of Donald Trump, and they don't seem to be afraid of Ron DeSantis. And look, that's why Trump is so divisive. But we cannot let the deep state divide us. If you are a DeSantis supporter, do not let your love of Ron DeSantis turn you into a never-Trumper. The most important thing that we need to do right now is to get rid of the rhinos in Washington, D.C. We need to drain the swamp. We need to defeat the deep state. And so we must continue to support the biggest threat to the deep state, Donald J. Trump. Well, that's it for me. And remember, it's not that our liberal friends are ignorant. It's just they know so much that is not so. Good night.
What is fascism? Fascism is private ownership, private enterprise, but total government control and regulation. Well, isn't this the liberal philosophy? The conservative, so-called, is the one that says less government. Get off my back. Get out of my pocket. And let me have more control of my own destiny.